The Pain Pod is produced by Bloodstream Media and made possible thanks to our sponsor, Tremo Pharmaceuticals. Visit resethastudy.com to learn more about their work.
Marty, you must not leave the house. Anything you do could have serious repercussions on future events.
Tremo Pharmaceuticals presents The Future of Chronic Pain, a Bloodstream Media podcast. Not everyone leads an ordinary life, and growing up with chronic pain doesn't make it any easier. But virtual reality is about to change all of that.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
VR creates alternate realities that allow patients a momentary escape from the world of chronic pain.
Ah!
Experiencing a future, doing things they may have never dreamed of.
It worked! It's a flying saucer from outer space!
Now, we've got to show that aging and chronic pain doesn't need to be so painful.
This has gotta be a dream.
And you too can help us move forward toward the future of chronic pain. Dr. Tyler Buckner.
Pain treatment is most effective when it's multimodal.
Dr. Sharice Sparks.
When you open your eyes, you are in a different place.
And Mel Forrest.
Wow, that's amazing.
In the future of chronic pain.
Hi, I'm Mel Forrest. And no, you're not in a movie theater. You're actually listening to The Pain Pod. I want to give a quick shout out to my producer extraordinaire, Keith Corneluk, for voicing that opening sequence.
My pleasure.
Aging with chronic pain, despite our opening trailer, is not usually a hot topic in movies. Aging in general is something that society and culture tend to shy away from. And in the rare occasion it does get some attention, it's not always in the most favorable light. People get older, and aging with pain is a reality. But it doesn't have to be so dismal. In this episode, we confront the realities of aging with chronic pain while discussing some of the emerging therapies, like virtual reality, that can keep us moving forward and hopefully change the future of chronic pain.
We're certainly learning a lot more about the aging process over the last 10 to 20 years as the life expectancy for all of our patients has increased.
This is Dr. Tyler Buckner.
I'm an associate professor of hematology at the University of Colorado School of Medicine and Hemophilia and Thrombosis Center.
And he's here to talk about aging with hemophilia and chronic pain. Pain, particularly with hemophilia, is unique because it can begin early in life. Dr. Buckner expands on some common pains a person with hemophilia may experience as they age.
Many of our patients who grew up without great treatment options for bleeding have severe joint disease and established joint disease and have essentially learned to live with that in one way or another. The patients who I see who are in their 60s or 70s or older have lived through that, and that's a unique experience. Different perhaps from osteoarthritis, which while that affects the joints just like hemophilia-related arthritis can, that experience usually starts much later in life.
Hemophilic arthropathy is a common complication of hemophilia. Repeated bleeding into the same joint causes permanent and irreversible joint damage. And over time, this destroys the cartilage and lining of the joint. Other complications of hemophilia, including intracranial hemorrhage, joint disease, and inhibitor development, can increase with age. Still, some of these age-related problems are likely to show up earlier in hemophiliacs.
So it affects everyone a little bit differently. Some people have worked around those limitations in one way or another. For instance, either adjusting one's aspirations or plans for careers or for work such that they're not in positions where they have to do physical activities or labor that make pain worse or that are limited by pain. Others being determined to work despite that and do what they want and what they're called to do. And so we've seen both of those approaches.
On top of dealing with a chronic disease that has its own complications that arise with aging, a person has to deal with other age-related conditions.
For these other age-related diseases that can come on, whether it's heart disease or high blood pressure or kidney problems, and approaching that medically with those things in mind is a little different from someone who's otherwise, healthy and doesn't necessarily have a long medication list that we need to think about if we're using medications for pain. So I think all those things kind of play a role in that experience, and just trying to tailor, what we do to each individual is really important, and forging ahead and figuring out how to get people to the point where they can do the things they want to do.
Throughout the years, movies and television have depicted those with aging as fragile, weak, tired, and in pain. And although pain and aging can physically and mentally affect a person, it doesn't mean that the drive to keep on living isn't there. Today, there are options, treatments, and lifestyle adaptations for pain, which is also true for those aging with hemophilia. Dr. Buckner elaborates on some of the available pain treatments and therapies.
It's a good opportunity to remind ourselves that pain treatment is most effective when it's multimodal. And when we say that, we mean basically coming at it from as many angles as possible, because it's very rare that there's one specific treatment that takes care of everything.
So let's take a look at it from the following angles.
And so in the big buckets, we put pharmacologic treatments, medications.
So analgesics.
Another bucket might be non-pharmacologic approaches, and that's a very wide range of different therapies, including mental health support. Physical therapy is another cornerstone of treatment for pain. Exercise and other wellness-related activities, getting up and moving, whatever you're capable of doing. I'm a huge believer in walking as exercise, whether it's with a partner or a group. Walking has many benefits, not just physical. And if you're in a place that you can safely get outside and just move, it's incredibly helpful. When I was growing up, and I think it's true for a lot of us, we kind of were taught or learned that exercise doesn't count as exercise unless you're sweating and unless you feel like you've been pushed to your limits.
Cue training montage from Rocky.
And that's just not true. Walking, you don't have to have your heart rate up to 140 in order for that to be beneficial. So that's a big one. I think we also undervalue an icing therapy.
Cut to Sylvester Stallone being cryogenically frozen in Demolition Man. I'm sensing a pattern here. We're having fun, but truth be told, icing routines can be beneficial over time, reducing inflammation and helping to get joints feeling better.
It seems simple, but it can be effective. There are a number of alternative approaches that can be fairly simple for people to get involved with. They don't necessarily require a trained professional to get started.
Yo, Mick, you're fired. I'm sorry, I'm going to get fired for doing my best Stallone impression.
Using mindfulness-based approaches to understanding your body and your own response to painful events or pain all the time, and to be able to work through those things, and other approaches like biofeedback that do take some training. But all those things, again, kitchen sink. We explore all those options and want to help patients understand what's available, what's safe in the context of their bleeding disorder, and then ultimately find the right combination that fits in their lifestyle and helps them be as functional as possible.
In the movies, our main character might emerge from this training or lifestyle montage a completely new person, better than ever. But the truth is, life isn't like the movies.
Don't have illusions of trying to eliminate all pain. The 0 to 10 pain score, we're not looking for a 0. We're looking for function and well-being. And sometimes that means learning how to get through the pain and deal with it in a way that's constructive rather than limiting.
Though life might not be completely pain-free, it shouldn't limit the things we want to do. We may not be at the top of our game like Rocky Balboa, but it shouldn't stop us from going the extra round in life. When we return, Prepare to jump into a whole new world as we explore virtual reality, an emerging pain therapy. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm Patrick. I have hemophilic arthropathy, or permanent joint disease and chronic pain as a result of hemophilia-related bleeding. And like many of my fellow blood brothers and sisters, finding the safest and most effective ways to manage my HA has been somewhat challenging at times. That's why I'm in support of Tremeau's Reset HA study. Tremeu was founded with the goal of developing and delivering non-opioid pain therapies for people living with pain. Tremeau's Reset HA study is a clinical research study for people who experience joint pain due to hemophilia. The study's evaluating an oral, non-opioid investigational drug designed to be taken once a day to see if it may potentially help relieve joint pain and improve physical function in people with hemophilic arthropathy. You may be eligible to participate in this clinical research study if you are between the ages of 12 and 75, have been diagnosed with hemophilia A or B, have chronic pain in one or more joints, and do not take opioid medication more than 4 days a week. If you are interested in learning more about taking part in Tremeau's Reset HA study, visit resethastudy.com. That's resethastudy.com to find a study location near you. Reset the way you manage your pain. Visit resethastudy.com today.
Pain, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Pain Pod Enterprise. Its mission? To explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new therapies, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Hello, and welcome aboard the Pain Pod Enterprise. We ask that you please fasten your seatbelts as we prepare to jump to warp speed and head into the future of chronic pain. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
When you go to virtual reality, some people like to say we transport you from the world you are in today to a different world.
Virtual reality, a simulated experience that allows a person to interact with a replication of the real world or a completely different world. My mind doesn't immediately jump to pain when I think of VR. It jumps to skydiving or a hip-hop lightsaber workout. Don't ask. But immersive therapeutics, or interventions that help prevent, manage, or treat medical disorders or diseases through virtual, augmented, and mixed reality are on the rise, especially when it comes to pain. Our friend Tom Norris from Season 2 shared his lifelong journey with chronic pain.
My name is Tom Norris. I have pain in my left leg, across my hips, up my spine and neck, and it radiates through my entire body.
He also mentioned something that I hadn't heard discussed much in the pain management world.
Within the last 2 years, I've been using virtual reality.
This intrigued me, so I decided to do a little bit more digging and uncover this new reality for pain management. So I went straight to the source and spoke with Dr. Charisse Sparks.
My name is Dr. Charisse Sparks, and I am the Chief Medical Officer for Applied VR.
As it states on their website, at Applied VR, our virtual reality-based treatments represents a comprehensive approach to chronic pain that empowers patients with accessible digital tools self-managed in their homes. By harnessing the unique properties of immersive therapeutics, we are delivering a biopsychosocial solution to address the biopsychosocial condition of chronic pain. Dr. Sparks graciously took time out of her busy schedule to talk about virtual reality, the role of Chief Medical Officer, and the future of chronic pain.
Chief medical officers can do a lot of different things. And in a startup environment like we are at Applied VR, I have responsibility of management of our clinical organization, so clinical research organization, our medical affairs organization, our regulatory organization, and our quality organization. So anything that impacts a patient, any research that we're doing, the regulations that we have to follow because of patient safety, quality, what kind of devices are we putting in people's homes, all those things. And then when people have questions and they're medically based, that's my medical affairs team. So anytime that anything that we do will impact or touch a patient, that's under my purview.
So yeah, Chief Medical Officer is a pretty big job. And Dr. Sparks talks about ways virtual reality can help people with chronic pain.
I'm an orthopedic trauma surgeon by training. And so when I used to talk to patients, what I would try to do is, like, I want people to explain stuff to me, like, tell me like I'm a 3-year-old so I really get it. So I will try to break that down for immersive therapeutics. And just that word itself should tell you that you're going to have a whole body and whole mind experience when you go to virtual reality. Some people like to say we transport you from the world you are in today to a different world. And sometimes that's a little hard to believe, but you put this headset on and you close your eyes if you like to. And then when you open your eyes, you are in a different place. And that place could be, one of my favorites is swimming with dolphins in the open ocean. So you're actually feeling like the dolphins are right there around you. Or if you like nature, taking a walk on an outdoor trail in the mountains where you end at a quiet stream or an open lake. Or there's some other environments that you can be in. One of those that we sometimes share with people that don't really believe that they're going to be transported to a different place. We actually take you 500 feet up in the air and ask you to step off and see if you would do it. Those are some of the tools. But the science that we use are tools like cognitive behavioral therapy. So these are things that you would actually sit in a therapist's office and they would take you through some of these things. But we do that in a more visual and tactile way of getting you through those same kind of exercises. Also distraction. So just think about the last time you sort of had an ache or a pain, but if you started doing something else, that went away because you were distracted by the other things. So we use things like that. And that's one of those things, swimming with dolphins. That's pretty distracting. So you can do that. Also using biofeedback. So using your own breath to control the physiologic parts of your brain that make your heart rate go down, make your stress level go down, make those hormone levels that cause pain go down. So all those things coming together, bringing all those impacts together, help you not only deal with the pain that you're having right then, but it teaches your brain how to interpret pain different and then how to modify and moderate your pain even when you're not in the headset. So there are structural and functional changes that happen to your brain by going through this 8-week therapeutic protocol that we have.
For many, virtual reality is a game, something their children play after school. So it can be hard to imagine using a similar headset to manage chronic pain. But words like cognitive behavioral therapy, biofeedback, and biopsychosocial approach hold weight.
This is an FDA-approved therapeutic device. So this is like medicine, and this is like the therapy that you get when you actually go to a therapist. And so it's just how we think about things that is important. You will have a different set of tools to manage and face your pain that, yes, you will have a lasting effect and it will change your quality of life. And all of that is borne out in our research. So not only did we measure how the reduction in pain and things called pain interference with sleep. So pain interfering with your sleep, your mood, or your stress levels. All those things were reduced after completing the 8-week program, and they were sustained for 3 months.
As research continues, I asked Dr. Sparks what the ultimate goal is behind applied VR.
Everybody's goal is to impact patients in a positive way. But I think the virtual reality and especially applied VR, we want to do that in such a way that, number one, we can make this accessible, because our hope is that we can have a VR headset in every home in America that needs one. That's a big goal. That's a great aspiration of ours. We want to provide therapeutic effect across multiple kinds of pain, multiple disease states.
And as we've learned throughout the seasons, accessibility plays a huge role in pain management.
This therapeutic device just offers so many opportunities for so many people. And I think one of the most probably emotive things for me is many people with chronic pain sort of feel like they're at the end of their rope. There's just like no hope. And if you can have a device which actually does take you to a different place, even only for a few minutes, 7 minutes a day, out of a life where before you didn't have 7 minutes of peace or 7 minutes of difference, that's huge.
As some of us grow older with chronic pain, giving in and enduring is a choice. But I am hopeful that there are many more accessible options and emerging therapies, pain management techniques, and scientific advancements beyond our wildest dreams that will help those with chronic pain live fuller, more engaged lives. So don't let movies and pop culture dictate what aging should look like, because the future of chronic pain is in your hands. And with new non-invasive emerging therapies like VR, pain and aging doesn't need to stop you from moving forward and living the life that you want. Keith, beam me up. Warp speed, engage.
The mere fact that we haven't figured it out in 100 years doesn't mean we won't figure it out next year.
We discuss the desire to keep moving forward next time on The Pain Pod. The Pain Pod is written and hosted by me, Mel Forrest, produced by Keith Corneluk, edited by Jose Miguel Baez, artwork by Ryan Gielen and Christina Newhard, post-production support from Joshua Sterling Bragg, Rob Bradford, Allison Stoney, and Avra Friedman, and executive produced by Patrick James Lynch. The Pain Pod is produced by Bloodstream Media and presented by Tremo Pharmaceuticals. Tremo's Reset HA study is a clinical research study for people who experience joint pain due to hemophilia, and you can learn more about it by visiting resethastudy.com. And as always, if you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and share The Pain Pod. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Mel Forrest. We'll be back next time with our final episode of Season 4 of The Pain Pod.